Hello, are you out there? I'm Mark with Homebrew Fever Dreams, and we're getting a little bit into the weeds here tonight with a Battlerager homebrew revamp coming from Knight. They posted this on the r/Homebrew Fever Dreams subreddit. So you got to know what this subclass is for this to mean anything to you. So if you don't know, I'm not going to go over the entire subclass here, just the revamp and do a little bit of comparison, contrast. So if you don't know Battlerager, you can go read up, or you can ignore this video altogether. But this is a big power up in my opinion. But let's get into it. So at level 0 rework for spiked armor. Normally, a Battlerager is not going to get access to that spiked armor till level 3, but here we're saying no, you're going to get the spiked armor right off the bat. So medium armor. Medium spiked armor, AC 14 plus your dex mod max 2 on the dex. So it, realistically 15, 16 in there for your AC. Proficiency in medium armor allows you to use the armor as a melee attack weapon. So you can essentially just have your armor, sans any swords or hammers, and just make an attack roll with it, using your strength for attack rolls and damage, dealing 1d4 plus the modifier of strength piercing damage. So yeah, your barbarian to start with is going to maybe have a +3 in strength, I'd say. So yeah, 1d4 +3 piercing damage. To start off with, that's not too much, but essentially it allows your armor to just be your weapon for all intents and purposes. So that's kind of cool. And not overpowered, I would say. When successfully grappling a creature, or when grappled creature fails to escape, this armor deals damage equal to your strength mod to the target minus their contested mod if failing to check by 4 or less. Oh my goodness. So they fail to escape, but they get close. It's a little bit kludgy to have to be doing subtraction, to be quite honest. There are not a lot of mechanics in D&D that use that. And I'll be really honest with you, I don't know that you need it. I think you just do the contest. I mean, I think the idea is kind of saying, like, hey, if they're trying to scramble away and they succeed at getting away, they're still going to take some damage, right? That's believable, but ultimately it leaves you with having to do the simple math there. So I don't know that that would be a fun mechanic. It gets you a little more damage, I suppose. But yeah, attack rolls and all damage dealt by this armor are increased if the armor has a +X bonus. So +1 armor, +2. Yeah, I actually agree with that 100%. If you're wearing magical spiked armor, it should be treated as magical for purposes of AC and for the attack and to hit with it, essentially. So I agree on that. Now, third level features. This is where you normally buy into the subclass, period. AC wearing spiked armor is calculated as armor plus dex and con instead of just dex. So it's essentially treating it kind of like unarmored defense in a sense, with a max of 2 for each value. So again, you would probably, with the barbarian, you definitely have 2 con, but you'd be sitting at the 14 +2 +2, so 18 AC, pretty much right off the bat. Maybe 17. I mean, a barbarian's not going to have probably less than 1 in their dex, but could be the dump stat. Both values are affected by the medium armor master feat. Now so medium armor master would essentially allow you to, with medium armor, instead of just taking a max of +2 from a dexterity bonus, would allow you to go to a +3 if your dex is 16, 17, or more, but not beyond that. It just takes it from a max of 2 dex bonus to a max of 3 dex bonus. But if you're saying it's affecting both values, the con bonus and the dex bonus, then that's turning that piece of armor into a 20 AC suit of armor right off the bat, which is more than plate armor. Realism matters to some degree, the flavor, but ultimately it is leather armor with a bunch of metal spikes on it. And the idea of unarmored defense is that you're very lithe and you're nimble and you're dodging around. You're like a wild animal, therefore you're hard to hit. That's kind of the theory of that bare-chested barbarian. But I don't see how wearing a leather suit with metal spikes could possibly be better than plate armor. Um, because you're not faster, you're not more nimble. You have a little bit of leather protection. Uh, it's questionable. It's so high. It's so high. And obviously, I understand like not every barbarian's gonna have a 16 in Dex and a 16 in Con, and then whatever they have in Strength. Yeah, ugh. I'm not convinced of that. I'll just say that. Let's see. All medium armor qualifies as spiked armor for purposes of features and abilities. And shields qualify spiked armor for weapon attacks. Essentially, we're getting greedy with the AC here. If all medium armor qualifies as spiked armor, then if you're wearing half plate as medium, that's already a 15 plus the 2 decks. So you've now bumped that up to potentially 21, and now you're saying you can put a shield on top of that? And that you'll see, yeah, I think if you have a spiked shield, in your spiked a Battlerager, yes, I don't see why you couldn't use your shield to attack with as well. Although I think it would prevent you from grappling. I think that would be the trade-off. Because if you're going to use that shield, that's going to push you to an AC 23 with non-magical armor or shield. Am I doing the math right? 15 plus 3 is 21 plus the shield is 23. And then what happens, by the time you could get your dex to a +3 and your con to a +3 as a barbarian, you're probably going to have gone through an ability score improvement, ASI, if you're really going to go for this. And then eventually, yeah, between level 6 and level 10, you're going to get your +1 spiked armor. It's going to push you to AC 24. I mean, as long as the shield, using a shield does disqualify you from being able to grapple because you don't have both hands free. Otherwise, I would say it's OP. Attacks with spike armor use 1d6 for damage rolls. And that would be opposed to... Okay, that's at level 3. So essentially saying if you're using your spiked armor as your weapon just to start with at level 1, it's a d4. Once you get to 3, it's going to pop to a d6, and this increases d8 at level 6, d10 at level 10, d12 at level 14. So that's probably not unbalanced. It's just trying to keep your damage output in sync with everything else. And I would imagine at level 6, per the Battlerager class, I think your attacks count as magical for purposes of dealing damage. I mean, right around there would be the appropriate time to do that. So, damage caused by grapple adds your proficiency bonus before any subtractions are applied. Okay, that relates back up to this. If someone's trying to wiggle out of your grasp, you're going to subtract. The damage is going to deal your strength mod to the target minus the contest. Yeah, okay, more subtractions. So essentially, that just means your proficiency bonus in the armor allows you to do more damage when someone's trying to get away from you, I guess. 6th level features. When attacking an enemy with spiked armor, you may use your bonus action to attempt a grapple. Okay. I mean, you don't have the grappler feat. I'm just saying, I know it's not the same thing, but I'm just saying, like, if you really want to be a heavy grappler, you should dip into the grappler feat. But I guess it is in lieu of, I guess, taking a bonus action to attack or something. So when you successfully grapple an enemy, you may use your bonus action to attack the grappled creature after you grapple them on the next turn. So you can't bonus action grapple and then bonus action attack. But on the next turn, if you've kept them grappled, you may now grapple checks against creatures that are already grappled are treated as a success of 5 or greater. I guess because you're kind of... What does that mean? Like you're adding 5 to your grapple check relative to them? I'm not exactly sure. It's treated as a success of 5 or greater. But the idea being you're grappling them and all the spikes are like making it much harder for them to escape. So it's really easy for you to grapple them because you're all covered in spikes. Yeah, I don't think using the bonus action as to attempt to grapple is overpowered, especially since you're going to be losing any bonus action, other bonus action you would take. So I think that's fair. Um, you're throwing some. It's not overly complex, but the subtractions and the adjusting your rolls, yeah, it's okay. It's just it gets kludgy when you have to like do pluses, minuses on top of the standard stuff, but okay. Whenever you attack recklessly, you gain a number of temporary hit points equal to the result of your spiked armor damage. Okay, so this is different. So normally you would just get 4, I think, just 4 temporary hit points or 3. But this is saying no, you're going to get the D4. Well, you don't get this to level 6, so it's going to be the 8, the 10, or the 12 temporary hit points. So granted, those go away, I believe, every action. So you have to reckless attack over and over, and you'll get like you'd get the 8 and then the 8, but they don't stack. They have like evaporate immediately. But it allows you to kind of mitigate a blow or two, and if you are raging, then you're only going to be taking half damage from mundane attacks. Although obviously at some point as you push past 6, your opponents are probably going to start having magical, innately magical attacks +1 weapons as well. So, yeah, listen, I mean, you're given a bunch of AC, you're upping the damage output, and you're upping the temporary hit dice. It's a lot of buffs without a lot of detriments on the initial subclass. Don't get me wrong, the initial Battlerager subclass is weird. I don't know another way to describe it. It's super niche, like dwarves only. It's very colorful. It sounds like a heck of a lot of fun. But yeah, you're adding a lot of pluses. It's like A plus 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 plus, right? You're just going across the screen. We're not even done yet. Let's keep looking here. Once per turn, if you would attack while you have temp HP from this feature, you may spend all of them to deal extra damage equal to half the amount spent. So if you have 10 extra temporary hit points, you can deal 5 extra damage. You may use this feature a number of times equal to your proficiency bonus per long rest. So at this point, you're going to get 3 uses per long rest. That's not overpowered, and it's very situational, so you can decide when you want to get that extra little pop of damage, and it's not overly much, but again, it's another plus on there. Here at level 10, we have while raging, you may dash as a bonus action. Movement during this turn ignores opportunity attacks and deals your spiked armor's grapple damage to enemy creatures you immediately pass, like a razor wrecking ball. A creature you approach at the end of this movement has disadvantage to resist your next grapple check. Okay, let's break it down real quick. So normally the ability at 10th feature for the Battlerager will allow you to dash as a bonus action. So you can close the gap. You can get up to the enemy and then make your standard attack. It doesn't also confer the disengage, which is what you're talking about, ignoring opportunity attacks. So you're saying, yeah, as a bonus action, you can dash and disengage. That's really what it is, unless I'm missing something about the definition of disengage. Hold on. We're in the weeds here. Let's do this. I'm going to bust out the old DM screen here. Let's just see what we got. Disengage. Your movement doesn't provoke opportunity attacks for the rest of the turn. So you're using a little. Oh no, I stuck that in sugar. You're using a little bit of like lingo here to say movement during this turn ignores opportunity attacks. But what you should be saying is while raging, you may dash and disengage as a bonus action. Do both. You're not saying that, but it's only while you're raging, so admittedly, that's not all the time, but it's a lot of the time. And the idea that you're going to deal that armor to anyone that's essentially within melee range as you go by. So anyone that's adjacent to this 5-foot square you're in, you're going to deal the armor's grapple damage to each person as you go by. And grapple damage again on this is set to Gosh, what is the what, is it 3? The grapple damage is 3 on the standard build. Is that what you're using here as well? No, you're using your strength mod. Oh. Well, at any rate, I guess I don't know that exact. I'm not that clear on the grapple damage portion of this. Like when you grapple someone, I think it's you add 3 damage. Is essentially what it is. Um, but you're saying you can run by and cut everyone up. Hey, listen, it's cool. Like to think about it, it's awesome. The idea of like you're running through there, just charging through, trying to get to your main target that you can do your main attack on. Very fun, and especially with taking the dash, you can cover a lot of ground, so you can run by pretty much all the enemies. I mean, you're going to be able to get to 2, 3, maybe 4 bad guys with this, dealing that bit of damage. Again, that's just another plus. You're like 5 pluses to the subclass right now, without a lot of detriments that I see. Oh, and a creature you approach at the end of the movement has disadvantage to resist your next grapple check. Right, because you're just kind of running at them full speed, and you're like, ah, it's like Velcro suit to the wall. Also, very evocative, very cool. I actually like that. See, this is you're eliminating all the detriments, right? So, like, okay, while raging, you may dash as a bonus action, but that means as you're running past the guys to get to the guy you want to grapple, you're gonna damage them, and they can't attack you. So it's not even like a you hit them, they opportunity attack you, but you're saying no. I get to hit them as a extra from the normal subclass. They can't hit me extra from the bonus subclass, and then I will the creature I attack at the end has disadvantage to resist my next grapple check. So you're getting all these bonus. Normally, the Battlerager would just be able to dash as a bonus action, and that's it. And then they would just make an attack at whoever they dashed up to. All the while, opportunity attacks. So you're putting a lot into that. Like you're giving yourself tons of bonuses. Super evocative. It's just like it evokes such a great image of what you're going after. I would say dash is a bonus action, and that the creature you approach at the end of this, the creature you attack at the end of your dash, you will have disadvantage to resist. No, you'll have advantage to grapple. Should you attempt to grapple them on the next turn, something like that, right? You're assigning a disadvantage to them for the next time you grapple them. No, you give yourself advantage. I could see doing that, but you're going to have to get rid of that ignore opportunity attacks and deal the damage to the creatures as you pass by. Or something. I mean, I would say take one of the 3 things you're giving yourself. Either you damage guys as you're running by, or as you're running by, everyone pulls away from you because of the spikes, and you get the you ignore opportunity attacks, or is you run up on the enemy at the end and you hurl yourself at them after dashing at them, you'll have advantage to grapple them on your next turn, essentially. Or you grapple them with your action as you run up instead of attacking them. Your attempt to grapple them is your action. That would be the cleanest thing, and that you have advantage on that grapple check, that grapple contest, essentially. Yeah. 14th level feature. Once per rage, while an enemy is grappled, you may attempt to restrain them in place of an attack. Okay, so you're sacrificing your attack for a restraint. So you're gonna have to grapple them first, then on the next round, rather than attacking, you attempt to grapple them. All attacks while they are restrained are treated as crits. That's typical. Let's read restrained here real quick, everyone. Let's make sure we're all on the same page with this. Restrained creature speed becomes 0, and it can't benefit from any bonuses to speed. Attack rolls against this creature have advantage, and the creature's attack rolls have disadvantage. The creature has disadvantage on dexterity saving throws. Oh, you're treating them as though they're prone. All attacks while they are restrained are treated as crits. Attacks by you, attacks by anyone? And spiked armor grapple damage is tripled before applying subtractions. I guess I'm a little confused between the spiked armor's grapple damage and the spiked armor's melee weapon damage. That dice, are you treating that as the same die? So the D6, the D8, the D10, the D12? I like the idea that you may attempt to restrain, right? Like it's a cool grappler, wrestler thing. Once restrained, it would give other people advantage on attacks and them disadvantage. I mean, the restraint is enough by itself. The idea that you would treat all attacks while they are restrained are treated as crits, and the spiked armor's grapple damage is tripled before applying subtractions. It's a couple of pluses. There's a couple more pluses right in there. You're packing multiple pluses into individual abilities. Or are you getting rid of the other features for the 6th, the 10th, and the 14th level? I guess I'm not clear on that exactly. So finally, TLDR, this rebalance serves to make spiked armor useful to most martials. Okay, right. Rebalancing just the spiked armor in general, that anyone could wear it or a spiked shield and treat it as a melee weapon, a D4 melee weapon. I like that. If you're proficient in the armor or you're proficient in shields, you can make a real attack. I mean, yeah, I think that should just be in there. If you have a spike on your shield, you're proficient in shields. For any class, you should be able to use it as a D4 melee attack, in my opinion. Yeah, absolutely. Same with the armor. And melee to turn the barbarian into a pseudo monk with a grappling theme. Yeah, and along those lines, then I would say my critique of the revamp is to keep the grappling features, keep this restraint thing, keep the advantage to you if you use your action to grapple at the end of dashing as a bonus action while raging. But you say rebalance, but I don't see a lot of what was taken away. But again, this is the problem with doing a revamp here like this in me critiquing is knowing what you've pulled out, knowing what the original subclass is, period, because it's gate kept behind one of the expansion things for D&D 5e. So it's like I can't even see the official thing on D&D Beyond. I can find versions of it, but we're not trying to do that. So but yeah, I mean, I was able to find enough information, but I can't tell what you're taking away so much as what you're adding, and what you're adding seems like a lot of stuff. So seems like you've turned this into like an A+++ subclass as opposed to just an A+ subclass. So that's my honest opinion. I think there's some really good stuff there, but I think you need to par some of it back. You need to tone it down a bit to keep the grappling theme and keep the modifications you've made to the spiked armor, spiked shield mechanic. I think that's pretty cool. Especially up here, the armor calculations, you're going through the roof on that AC. For even mundane spiked armor made out of leather. Okay, I'm gonna DM you this, but I do appreciate you sharing. Rework it, clarify, send it back to me. I'll look at it again. Take care.